Hey YouTube, it's Matt with Olympus Reptiles, and today is one of my favorite types of things to film. I know we've been on this kick of doing like these business videos where we've talked about our mistakes we've made, the things we've done well, etc., etc. But there's one problem with those. Although if you've enjoyed them, take a second, click like, subscribe. It really does help us. They don't show a lot of snakes, and so today I'm going to show you some snakes. A lot of snakes, or a good number of them, and a lot of really cool ones. And it should give you a little bit of a peek into my future, or our future. I shouldn't say my future, the future of Olympus, and what some of our plans are. And then we're going to slide over to Patreon, which if you're not a member, you should be. By the way, just so you guys who are on the fence or thinking about what is it all about, because I've heard a lot of people say it's this or it's that, you get the Discord. You also get first access to our babies. We also do a monthly special. This month's special, the very end of November, was when we did it, was a lesser pastel het desert ghost, 100%, 66% chance of being het either cryptic or clown, and also possible het caramel. So that was a special this month. So we do put some pretty cool stuff out there for people to get exclusively on Patreon. Now, that's the end of that advertisement. I get to showing snakes, but we'll kind of give them a window when we're done here about why we chose to move, some of them, kind of how I make that decision, what all goes into that. You'll get information on why we chose to move one here today, because we've talked about it before, but the rest of them we'll kind of share over there on Patreon. All right, that's all I've got, guys. Let's get to showing some snakes. So what we have today is moving day, kind of a graduation day, if you will. We're going to show off a lot of snakes that started in our FB10s and that we were growing up, and that for whatever reason, they grew. Maybe because we fed them. I don't know. And so they have now moved up in size, or maybe in one case moved down in size. Kind of lets you know kind of what's going on with us and what's coming up in the future for our future breeders. So this is a super fly 100% het Axanthic SK line. This is not one that I produced. It's one that was brought in the part of the Jason Ross collection. Really, really cool snake. It's grown really, really well. I'm really excited about this thing. I want you guys to think when we start doing some like super pastel Axanthic to this, to really get some super pastel fire Axanthics, we'll make some really, really cool stuff with this girl right here. Also, of course, layering in the spider with like Diesel, which is our spider super pastel Axanthic male going to here. It's going to be awesome. So she's growing really good, doing really well. Jason, if you're watching, know that this one's been in really good hands. Let me put this up and get to the next one, though, because we've got a lot of these to show. Oh, you have got a full booty. Please don't let it go on my table or on me. So this is another one. Of course, you're seeing a lot of Axanthic stuff, right? This is an in-house produced Zebra Bee female, which is a pastel spider Axanthic. Look how clean the spider is on this. Even with adding the pastel, which tends to get you a lot more dots, you're just not seeing any. Very, very clean, very nice banding across. You can see when we talk about it drips down into the white, like I really like. This is, not only is it a culmination of the genes I wanted, but it's a culmination of the line breeding I wanted to get the snake to look this way. Really great example here, where you can really get that dirt off there, where it's really dripping down into the lines. So very, very beautiful girl. Now, for full disclosure, these first two girls I showed you, we moved them a while back. We just hadn't done a video about moving them. So they're a little bigger than some of the other ones we've moved because they've been there for a while. But in-house produced, FB10 to FB20. As you can see, she is kind of, looks like maybe getting ready to have a poop. You can kind of tell that the tail just looks really thick there at the base. She eats really good, so she's going to have a good duke for me, I'm sure. But beautiful, beautiful snake. And again, you can kind of probably guess what we're going to do with this. We're going to avoid, of course, the spider male to her, but we'll be doing things like our super pastel Axanthic to her, things of that nature to really work on making a lot more killer bee Axanthics. And there you can see the head. Does really good. I mean, that's wobble right there, if you know what you're looking for. That kind of, whoop, now we're fairway up and down. That's all it really is. Come on, girlie, let me put you home. Home is where the heart is. So these are going to be a little smaller now, just because these, for the most part, are ones we moved a little bit later, with this one being an exception. So this one actually has moved out of an FB20 to an FB40 for a while. It hit the right size for that. So we moved it. What this is a super pastel. Let me flip it over. Well, you still can't really see the head. Scaleless head, female. So of course this is working towards full scaleless project. One of the females will think will be one of the first ones to get ready to go. However, when we moved her from an FB20 to her FB40, she completely shut down on feeding for us. So one thing you got to remember is when you're running these tubs, right? You know, everybody's like, oh, bigger is always better. Bigger is not always better, guys. Not when it comes to ball pythons. Security is king. They need to feel secure. They need to be hidden. Even though it's a big, dark space, it felt too cavernous for her. So my options were to really just junk it up with a bunch of stuff, and she'd just stay in the hide all the time then anyway, or to move her back to an FB20 for a while where she felt more secure. We opted to go back to the FB20, and lo and behold, the first week she was back in there, I fed her 4 days after I moved her, and she ate. So after skipping meals for quite a while, back to FB20, bang, back on food. So if you're having a problem with a snake you moved, going smaller, but also you can always go to a smaller tub, is definitely an option. And in this case, it was the right option. She's just a little bit of a shy snake, you know, but she's even calmed down. In the FB40, she was much more likely to try to bite me. Actually did bite me once. And as you can see in the FB20, oh, now her head's coming out. So you can see the scaleless head. Not a whole bunch of scaleless, but you can really kind of see the pattern. You can see it a little bit by the nose. And you can also see how the scalation just isn't very uniform. That's also a sign of scaleless head. So this isn't the most like, oh my God, look at all those missing scales example, but it is definitely a scaleless head. I've had her since she was born, so we've gotten pretty good at identifying that. But that is why we moved her back to a 20. And we'll leave her in a 20 for a while. I'm going to let her get too big for a 20 if I'm being honest. And I'll wait as long as I possibly can to move her to a 40 to try to keep her on that feed schedule. Right, baby girl? All right, let's go. There you can really kind of see that head a little bit. But we'll go ahead and put her back and go on to the next one. Now this one can be a little bit of a fireball, but I think it's just a champagne. You start putting champagne in snakes, and I swear they can be a little fireball. So what do we have here is a pastel lesser champagne. Let me double check that, make sure I'm not missing anything. No, sorry, I am missing something. There is no lesser. I thought I was reading something wrong, so it didn't look right for that. This is a pastel champagne. Lesser, this would be a lot cleaner, a lot brighter. You wouldn't have all this coloration speckling on there. But this is also a scaleless head. So this is a lot more evident scaleless head. There you can see that on this pastel champagne, scaleless head male. So again, one thing we were running into with all of our scaleless head stuff is we had a lot of pin, was what we started with. And pin to pin doesn't do so good. I mean, you don't get really super pins. And I wanted to bring my scaleless into champagne. So this is the male to do that, and I can breed him to, say, a lemon blast female, or I can breed him to the female we just showed to make pastel scaleless, super pastel scaleless, pastel champagne scaleless, all kinds of really cool stuff. Super pastel champagne scaleless, we'll be able to make a lot of combos, all that in scaleless head as well. So that's kind of why we kept him, is to not overwork the other scaleless head male we have and have some diversity in our genetics. Now that being said, all of our scaleless head comes from one male, right? So they're all going to be related. So after running this male through, it'll be time to probably outcross. You can go a lot longer, but we typically try to outcross pretty quick just to avoid problems down the road. You ready, buddy? I know, you got that stiff body position, which means you're not so sure about this flying through the air thing. You'll be all right. I promise. There you go. Something else I figure I should do is, although this one's already pooped in here, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. We can fix that really quick. As we talk about an FB20, and we're showing you these snakes, how big is that tub actually? Well, this is an FB20, so as we're moving them, this is what we're moving these things to, what we're kind of talking about for that purpose. Ew, Dookie. Of course, they all got brand new, fresh litter when we moved them, so they're all in a really good spot. And this is our female Tofino that we held back. So she is gorgeous. Again, the nice thing about breeding, guys, is I get to pick the best of the best. I get to pick what I really like. And there is not a Tofino I'd want more than this one. She's got this really cool yellow spotting. The purple is nice and dark and very, very much that bruise color. That orange is coming through there. Her head literally has an orange glowing spot on it. She's gorgeous. She is gorgeous. And they hold these colors. Unlike the banana where they get the spots and kind of get a little dingier looking, these Tofinos really don't do that. They look great as they age as well. So this is awesome. So this is another snake that recently went from an FB10 to an FB20. And this gives you an idea of the size of the tub we're talking about when I talk about 20. A lot of people are like, well, what's that mean? This is exactly what that means. And as you can see, there's plenty of space for her in there. But some of those larger ones I pulled out, you can see why we tried to move that one, although it didn't work. Let me go ahead and throw her back home. You don't want to crawl it, girl. You're going home. Yeah, you're going home. Home, home, home. Whoop. Right there, huh? Now this little one here is in shed. This is another female, and it is, I believe it's a lemon blast, but I thought we had something else going on in there too. Maybe not. This is just my lemon blast. Oh, sorry, it's a killer blast. It just looks like crap because it's in shed. I was thinking I didn't move a lemon blast. So, killer blast is going to be super pastel and pin. When this sheds out, it's going to be a lot brighter. You know, it just doesn't look its best right now because, as you can see, based on that eyeball, right? Well, now it's there. Don't hide them. They're in blue. They're very, very blue. So this is the worst looking the snake's probably ever going to be. But it'll shed in its new cage and do fine, and then it's going to look wonderful. So why did I keep this one? I mean, it's pretty simple. It's just a killer blast, right? And I know everybody's like showing these holdbacks that are like even a lot of stuff we're showing. It's got multiple genes that are extra genes or genes that maybe aren't as, I hate to use the term basic, but maybe as old school would be a better term that have been around a long time as this without something extra in it. Truth be told, part of being that level of breeder that we are, where, you know, we're a profit breeder, but we're not a corporate breeder. You know, there's a lot of things we do just because we want. I didn't have one, and I liked it, so I kept it. That's why. There wasn't any other rhyme or reason. I got plenty of stuff I can breed to it and make cool shit, but the main thing is I didn't have one of these snakes. And when it hatched out, I thought, oh man, that thing's cool. I really dig that. I'm keeping it. And that's the other cool part of this level of breeding. You produce a lot of stuff, but you also get to pick what you want just because sometimes you want it. And that was her in a nutshell. All right, guys, we got 2 more snakes left. Hopefully Kurt wasn't filming my butt. This one is a really, really cool snake. So what are we looking at here? Well, this is completely different than the one I just showed. I kept this because I wanted it, but it has a lot of stuff going on in it. So 3-gene female, which would conclude Pastel and Leopard. That's probably the easiest parts to see on this. But if you look, you get a lot of really nice blushing, and you get some definitely wonkier pattern. It's just, there's a lot more going on in the Pastel Leopard, which, let me show you one for comparison purposes. This is a Pastel Leopard. Okay, so you can see the difference, because I've had people like not see this, so this is my best way of showing this. So what else is in here? This is a Pastel Leopard Blitz. That's what we think is going on. I think we got all 3 in here. It doesn't look like my Pastel Blitz stuff. It's just way too much blown out there. So we believe we have all 3 genes in there. Little Pastel Leopard Blitz action on this girl right there. And as you can see, she's gotten definitely big enough to move up in size. Don't fall off the table on me, snake. There's nowhere you can go. Come on. All right, let me get the last one. No, no. There you go. And again, from the realm of, I just wanted to keep it because I hadn't ever had one, is this one here, which is what's called a pewter. This is a little pewter female, which those that aren't aware, pewter is a 2-gene combo, and this is a black pastel pastel. So you get this pewter. Now, that being said, yes, this isn't some kind of crazy snake, and it just shed, and we kept it mostly because, well, I just wanted to keep it. I thought it looked cool when it was a baby. I still think it looks pretty cool now, and so it went in my back pocket. The other cool thing is with this, though, is I'm lacking in black pastel. I don't have a ton of black pastel females ready to go. You know, I just have the one large black pastel girl, and she didn't go for me last year. So we're really short on that gene. So animals like this are going to help us in the future have more black pastel. I also have a black pastel. You have a little bit of skin still right there on the top of your head, don't you? Just one little patch. I also have a black pastel banana, blitz calico that we're raising up to breed as well. This snake pounds food, eats good. She was from the last clutch of 2020, which was like hatched in December or something, or January of 2021. So she's not very old. She's born pretty small, but packs on food good. And once she got started rolling, she did amazing for me. So I'm going to put this one back. Before I do, Kurt, you got any questions?
No.
So out of all the ones I showed you, Kurt, because you don't get to see these as much as I do in this kind of light, what was your favorite?
The Pastel Leopard Blitz.
The Pastel Leopard Blitz. So Kurt said his favorite's the Pastel Leopard Blitz. Man, it's hard. Mine is probably honestly the Tofino, just for pure look. Breed-wise, probably the Pastel Leopard Blitz. And when we go over to Patreon, Kurt's going to tell them why that one was his favorite. All right, guys, unless you got any questions, we'll catch you next week.